Tell me everything you know about our strategist.
Is there for reproduction?
Reproduction. Rapid reproduction. Rapid what? Rapid growth, but they stay small. In other words, they reproduce a lot of offspring. They are at their reproductive stage rapidly, okay? And they're basically governed by their biotic potential, which is their ability to reproduce at the maximum, okay? Fast. Because their lifespans are usually short, yet for some reason they can thrive in most environments. Not like generalists where they have a wide niche, okay? They just have the ability to survive once they reach a specific age, which is like type 3, yes? Also make sure you recognize if you see a chart or they're using a comparison about alien species, exotic species, or any of those terms that describe invasive species, they're usually our strategists, okay? K, based on carrying capacity, so there are limits to their growth from birth, and that would be type 1, okay? They are typically organisms that can survive also through a lot of environmental change, but obviously once they get to a specific age group, they will not survive, okay? All right, we are here. That was just a going back, analyzing graphs. We are here, stage 3. So we are in stage 3, which is the industrial stage, which is describing basically where we are right now, which is the Industrial Revolution. Give me 2 things that categorize the Industrial Revolution. What major things?
People were able to live longer.
Why?
Because of medicine.
Good. So the germ theory led to longer lifespans. Awesome. People are able to live longer. We discovered medicine, germs, antibiotics, vaccines, all of these things.
Mass production of food allowed for more population.
So mass production of food is definitely part of the industrial society, but we don't want to confuse this. Agricultural society led to food production. We have massive food production now because in order to be able to feed the world, we have to farm industrialized, which is not technically great, okay? So I wouldn't say industrialized farming revolutionized the society. It's not because something happened that we can farm this way, which revolutionized the society. So besides medicine, another invention led to the Industrial Revolution, which allowed us to farm in mass production, which allowed us to drive cars, which allowed us, what about them? Which allowed us to utilize fossil fuels at their maximum capacity. What's the invention? Who knows? What? Yes. Yes. Write that down. The steam engine. The industrial society is revolutionized by the steam engine and the discovery of the germ or discovery of medicine. Steam engine allowed us to power plows instead of, having an animal move a plow, right? There's your industrialized farming. All right, so what happened during Industrial Revolution to birth rates, death rates, and population? Look at the graph and tell me. Birth rates declined rapidly. Why? Who could tell me? The why is super important here. Why do birth rates decline in the Industrial Revolution? I could take 6 answers. More women are working. Yes. Why else? We already went over all this. What? Cost of living increase and the consideration. Can I really have 4 and 5 kids? What else? Give me one more. What if I ask you for 3 reasons why birth rates declined during the Industrial Revolution? What's the third one? Huh?
People needed to work.
We said that? Women go to school too. Women are being educated, okay? Contraception. You could go on and on. There's a whole slide on it. Okay, what happened to death rates? These are death rates. They continue to decline, yes? Continue to decline. Population? Right here. Increase. What did I tell you about stage 4 that you have to know? I said this yesterday when I introduced the demographic transition model. It's the future. It's not a fact. So you have to look at this graph and make interpretations based on the graph provided to you. My notes are actually wrong because I base it off another graph I had, okay? So tell me about birth rates, death rates, and population growth. What are the birth rates like? What? Low, good. They're low, and what's the pattern? Cyclic, low and cyclic. Kind of like we saw in stage 1, yes? Except it was high and cyclic. So it's the opposite of stage 1. What about death rates? Low again and cyclic, yes? What about the population growth during stage 4? Let's look at it. What's happening?
High. And it's heading towards.
It's still growing, it's still high, and it's then what? It looks like, we can't really determine that, but it looks like it's stabilizing. So this is wrong. So we're going to change this. Instead of steady, you're going to say growing, slightly growing. Even though there's still some exponential growth right in the beginning, right? And then stabilizing. Remember, there could be a stage 5, there could be a stage 6, all this future, future, future. Let's look at this future. I think that's my next, actually, I'm just going to jump there, right here. Right here. This is past and future. I want to make it clear to you that in 1960, and by the way, this graph was 2000, it's from 2007, were my people that are predicting population spot on in predicting what was going to happen to the population? The answer is yes. I've been using this graph for years. That's one thing I don't have to change in this. 3 billion in 1960 and 1 billion here on after that. Like, the whole world existed for years and the population was relatively stable, and all of a sudden you have exponential growth. Okay? You have to be ready to explain why. Why was there growth? Number one reason was what?
Medicine.
Not medicine. Number one reason. You're close, but that's the number one reason. No, before industrialization, look at the demographic transition model. Exponential growth happened. But give me the main reason, and if you forgot, you're going to write this again. What is the main reason for exponential growth? Sum it up. Everything you're saying is correct because it sums up what? What happened to the...
Decline in death rate.
There you go. Decline in death rates is the reason for exponential growth. You have to start with that. Then you say what led to the decline in death rates. First was settling, food, sanitation, then medicine. You need to go in that order, okay? Because it justifies the years and what happened throughout society's history, okay? Now, anytime I give you a map, when we get to 9 billion, which is 2050, every map I've looked at pretty much says the same thing. If I go a little bit further, I start to see a little bit of a dip in the population. Some drop it. I'm not saying they drop it. There's a slight decline. Give me reasons why you think this is something people believe is going to happen. What? So you think climate change, so that's going to be a really broad topic that's not going to justify your answer, okay? Yes.
People are having less children nowadays.
Okay, I would totally say that's definitely going to be an issue. So people are having less children. So somebody asked in my last class, then why wouldn't that happen here? Who can answer that?
Not enough resources.
Okay, that's another reason for here. Scary thought, yes? We're reaching our carrying capacity for some resources, and that can happen, and that's yes. But I want to go back to his point. He said people are not having a lot of children. That's happening now, yes? So how come the population continues to grow exponentially?
Because some countries that aren't developed still have lots of children.
So we're looking at the world population, and but even the countries that have lots of children are having less. So why is the country still growing exponentially?
Because I thought many people were dying.
We still have super high life expectancy in comparison to other years. What else? This is something nobody ever answers correctly. How many people are in the world right now? 7.5 billion. Let's say half of those people decide not to have children. There's still 3 point something billion people having kids. Population will still grow. Does that make sense? The amount of people that are currently on Earth, they're not all going to not have children. You know, maybe a handful. I would say maybe a quarter decide that. They're still going to at least have one. And because life expectancy is high, you live longer. All right. We said resources. We said people not having children. What else can lead to a decline? Okay, good. There could be something. This, like I was saying in my last class, I would hate to think of 2050 as a peak point where we're going to struggle to survive because we have limited resources. I hope that you guys think that too. Like, I don't want to get to that point where I reach my carrying capacity for water or for food. That would not be fun. 2050 is right around the corner. Now, if there's an epidemic, I can see that because medicine is definitely hitting a point where it's not working as effectively as it used to because of evolution of bacteria or pathogens, right? Even with food production. Think about those things. Okay, last thing. Because the world is so severely overly populated, and especially in specific countries like China and India, they started this thing called family planning. It varies within the countries. Family planning incentives are given to people with one child, or families that decide to have one child or no children. They also provide education and healthcare and contraception, empower women, because at the end, that helps with the decision making. But there's also like national control where they discourage you from having more children by taking away your housing and your pensions and things of that nature. So think about that. Like, why do you think India was the first to do this?
They had the largest population at the time.
They did. So there was a time they had such a large population, but still today India is probably more a topic of concern than China because of what?
Poverty.
True. There you go. Population density. They're overly cramped, which means less resources. Even though China has more people, so the population is larger, their density is not as tight, okay? And we are done, people.
Yay.
Yeah.